right, guys, welcome back. This is episode 13 of the Barbells Banter Podcast. Got Thomas Leon with us today. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, dude?
This is it, man. This is it. So thanks for coming on. Thanks for your time. So basically,
for having me, bro.
Yeah, my pleasure, my pleasure. So basically, guys, me and Thomas met on social media. I think it was through was it TikTok or Instagram?
Yeah, so I DM'd you on Instagram, I think like 12 or 16 weeks ago, just like because I thought the content was cool. But then we collided, I feel like I want to say like 6 or 8 weeks ago, and then we just started talking a lot more.
Yeah, we've been chatting, kind of FaceTiming, like just chatting about supplements in particular and that sort of thing. So I honestly don't know a whole lot about your background. We talked about, what you're doing in school right now, but I don't actually know kind of how you got into lifting and that sort of thing. So do you want to give us a little background on kind of how you got into this and, where you are now?
For sure. So I was an athlete my whole life. I did soccer up until when I was about 16, and then I stopped doing soccer, and then I swam my whole life as well, which I did until I graduated high school. And then I also started playing water polo in high school. And because of those sports, I just found myself in the weight room a few times. And especially my senior year, I was really trying to like get a little bigger because I'd always been a skinny kid. And yeah, man, I just like really kind of fell in love with the idea of like changing my body. Like the concept of being able to like influence the way I looked was
100%.
something that was super interesting to me. And yeah, it just kind of started there. And then here I am like 3 years later, I want to say. I've been lifting for 3 years now, and I've come a long way. I've had a lot of ups and downs and stuff, but yeah, that's where I started really as an athlete, and now I've kind of moved out of that into the more bodybuilding, powerlifting type sector.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I didn't know you played water polo.
Yeah, I only did it in high school because my swim team captains recruited me. It was in the spring after the swim season in the winter, and they're just like, "Dude, come play water polo. It's a good sport." And then, I really just like it was a dope sport to play. Like, it really teaches you a lot about team effort and team support because it's such a small. It's a 6v6 with goalies. So it's really just a small group of guys when you're in that pool.
Yeah.
And it's basketball in that where it's like you're heavily reliant on one another.
100%.
And I like that team environment. Like I'm all about that. So
yeah, and I guess you were used to swimming too, which is such a individual sport.
exactly.
So kind of moving into the environment with water polo. Wow, that's super sick. And you have quite the following on social media now as well.
Something like that. Yeah. So I'm on Instagram and TikTok. And I have a lot of recent recognition for my reels and my TikToks. I do like some like kind of funny, jokey stuff, and that's kind of how I started to get noticed.
Yeah. No, his reels and TikTok is popping off right now, guys. So I'll link that below so you guys can check it out for yourself. But yeah, so pretty big sports background, a lot of water sports going on, and then you kind of got into the mix of bodybuilding and I guess just trying to get bigger based
That's
on
right.
You didn't like the way you looked and you wanted to kind of optimize your performance in sport through strength training. That's super sick.
Precisely.
Yeah. And something else that both you and myself have in common is like kind of optimizing our performance through supplementation and vitamins and stuff like that. And you've done much more research on this than me, and I've kind of learned pretty much everything I know through you and through a little bit of research I've done on my own. But just to kind of give you guys like I guess a short look at kind of the supplements that I take. I was filming a video of kind of a daily routine of the supplements that I'll take throughout my entire day. So look at that as like, I'll like tag the video or whatever up above if you guys want to look at that. But basically like I'll wake up in the morning. The first thing I do is I'll take like apple cider vinegar, kind of suppress my hunger, so I'm able to push my meals later in the day. I take a fat burner and KSM 66, which is ashwagandha root extract, and we've talked about that before. So that's something that's really good for kind of like cortisol management, stress management. Um, and so I do my fasted cardio. This is just in prep now. So I'll do my fasted cardio, and then the health supplements that I take in the morning, kind of with my breakfast, is omega-3, the coenzyme B complex, which you put me on, the Citrate Magnesium glycinate, which you also put me on, and then I got a joint support supplement and a multivitamin, and I also have a greens powder and the red powder that I told you about, like with all the root extracts and all that stuff in it.
Yeah. You really
Um,
leave stone unturned here.
yeah, no, you get, hey, listen, you gotta have everything covered in prep, man, because like where I'm at such a deficit right now, and I'm not eating like a lot of variety in my diet, then like there's a lot of micronutrients and nutrients that I'm probably missing out on just because I don't have that variety.
Absolutely.
And another thing that I've found too is, do you take a green supplement?
I actually don't. I can go into why I don't take it if you want me to right now, or we can get into that later.
Yeah, no, let's
But
do that right now. Let's do that right
okay,
now.
so I don't take a green supplement because I don't know. I can't speak for every supplement, obviously, but from what I have found in my own research is that a lot of green supplements will have a lot of heavy metals in them. And like heavy metal toxicity is something that I've recently been like kind of dabbling in. And in general, I've done my research on some of the bigger brands of green supplements like Ghost Lifestyle or I actually haven't looked into Jack Factory, which is the one I know you're taking, but some of the bigger brands, a lot of them have a lot of like heavy metals in them, and that's not
Okay.
something I really am trying to ingest. I'm trying to minimize that as much as possible.
Right.
So for now, I really just try to force my greens down, just through food. But I know for some people they can be really good if greens are something they have a tough time getting in. But for me personally, I just have never had problems getting my greens, and I just toss a ton of veggies into my meals, and I usually get them in okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's something that like I've like in the off season, like so probably 6 months prior to this show prep,
Mm-hmm.
I was like really pushing food. Like I was on a meal plan for the off season. First time I took like an off season really seriously. And bro, like I was full. Like I was eating 5,000
Yeah,
calories plus, and I was like, there's
I
no way.
feel you.
Like I should be trying to get in some sort of vegetables or something. But, like I couldn't bring myself to it. Like I put spinach in eggs sometimes, stuff like that, like little
Yeah,
things, but it definitely wasn't enough. Um, so I was like, I'm gonna try this green supplement. And like because I was eating a lot of food, then I didn't notice it affected my energy. But as I got into prep, like, and I was used to taking it, um, I ran out like 1 week, and I wasn't like super reliant on it. But then I was like, man, like I'm hella tired this week. I don't know what's going on. And
oh
I was
no way.
like, yeah. And I was like, I haven't been taking my greens. Like
So you
that
think
was
giving
that
you
was
that little bit?
100%. And that's one of the main things that they say is like for natural energy. And I've noticed it's gotten even better, and I've been almost, I guess, more reliant on it. And it might be a placebo, it might be kind of,
Mhm.
that sort of thing. But as soon as I started taking my reds as well, then I've
Yeah,
noticed a difference in that. So like they're the two biggest components and biggest, I guess, benefits of taking the greens and the reds is for natural energy. Um,
sure.
and that's
Yeah,
as of right now, that's
energy is
kind of my biggest reason for taking them, because my
okay.
energy is so low. Um, Obviously, like I'm eating more greens now than I was in my off season, just as
Okay,
fillers and because I'm having less
fine
carbs.
stuff.
So that's, but the energy is a big thing for me. Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to speak on that because that does sound kind of, I want to say negative on my end. Like when I say I don't take this because this exact reason, like every supplement you take, I truly don't believe that there is a perfect supplement for anyone. Like, some supplements aren't going to have any side effects other than potentially positive effects that you would take them for. But there are some supplements that you take that'll have benefits, but will also have downsides. Like, for a lot of people with magnesium, for example, certain forms of magnesium, they find themselves feeling sluggish and maybe a little bit lethargic during the day when they take a certain form, like maybe a glycinate. And that's not necessarily something that a lot of people would consider to be more important than the benefits they might get from taking that magnesium. And it's the same with the greens, like you were saying. You might have a little bit of, you might be ingesting a little more heavy metals in your diet, but the energy is also huge. That might allow you to be a fitter, healthier person overall. Maybe you get more cardio in, or just more active in general, and allows you to be a more active person. And that could potentially outweigh the health downsides that the heavy metals would cause. So it's really just like a preference thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it does vary between people. If that's something like a risk you're willing to incur, absolutely keep taking them.
Yeah, so it's kind of just outweighing or weighing out the pros and cons really when it comes to all
Yeah.
supplements. So these trace heavy metals, like what, I don't even know what that is. Like, do you want to kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't want to speak too confidently on them, because I personally have only really started delving into them in the last couple of months, and there's a lot of research and like meta-analysis that I still need to read. But in general, what I've seen is that as we've kind of progressed into a more modern civilization, where with the industrial revolution, the industrial revolution, and how we've kind of more processed foods, all that type of thing. We have like tap water coming from these big plants that are filtered out and stuff, and you have fluoride in the water, like all these things that are coming from industrialization. We're seeing a higher concentration of heavy metals in our diet. And there have been some, seriously like negative health effects shown from those high heavy metals in your diet, like heavy metal toxicity. From what I've seen, can cause different problems for a lot of different people. I've also seen that we can have excessive copper in our bodies as well, and copper toxicity is a problem for a lot of people. But in general, my recent goal has been to be eating a lot of whole foods and just really keeping the processed food low to mitigate the heavy metals that are in my diet. The negatives, I wouldn't necessarily be able to speak on the exact negatives that I've experienced, because I wouldn't know, but
Right.
I just know that it's something I do want to avoid, because, especially with exposure to, external things that we can't control, like air pollution and that type of thing. We're in this day and age, I'm really just trying to be careful about the things I'm putting inside of my body, that type of thing.
100%, man. 100%. I think like the whole idea of just aiming to eat whole foods for everybody is just a
Yeah.
positive thing. And obviously, a little more about like the about processed foods and what goes into that, and the actual these trace metals that are in certain products, supplements, and
Mm-hmm.
that. So obviously, if you can mitigate them at all, you're gonna try. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, so that totally makes sense. Totally. Um, so with regard to that, and kind of, you mentioned there's trace metals in like the waters and stuff, and how they're being processed in
Mm-hmm.
plants. Do you want
Mm-hmm.
to kind of go over the shilajit and kind of talk about how those minerals that's in the shilajit have been decreased in our water over the years?
Sure.
Because I remember when we first talked about that, that was one of the things you mentioned, how like the water coming off the mountains. Anyways, I'll let you take over from here, because you'll
Sure, man.
explain a lot better than me.
Um, so I don't necessarily know if there's heavy metals specifically coming from the water we're drinking. I wouldn't say that exactly, but I know that the water that we are drinking is reused, and it's the same water that goes through our sewage systems. And the only thing that happens after it's used in that is it's it goes through a massive filter, and then it's reprocessed and recycled back into our drinking water. And I know that a lot of water now has fluoride in it. And I know that fluoride can be beneficial in some ways. I've heard it's good for your teeth, and I've heard it's good for some things, but I've also heard it's bad in other areas. But the biggest thing with this is this filtered water, because it goes through so many periods of, recycling, where it's just going through filters constantly. All the trace minerals that are in water when it's, just natural, like coming in from the earth, like coming up from the groundwater in streams and rivers and lakes, whatever it may be. All those trace minerals are kind of just lost in the process. And mineral deficiency is something that a lot of people don't know they have nowadays. But this is something I've been looking into recently with magnesium supplementation, especially. We used to get a lot of these trace minerals in our diet just going about our day. And now we don't get these things. Like mineral water is not very common. Where I am actually right now in Ireland, mineral water is much more common. But if you go into the US, I don't think any of the water very little of the water anyway is mineral water. And the tap water you're drinking definitely isn't mineral water. I can tell you that.
So what do you mean by mineral water? Is that like vitamin water or like?
No, so essentially you have these, you have things like magnesium, sodium, I want to say, what else would you get in there? You might get something like bicarbonate, that type of thing. Just kind of these like essential trace minerals, not vitamins, but minerals.
Okay, yeah.
And it's the same thing with the way you're taking your greens. You're taking those for micronutrients. Those have kind of vitamins and minerals in them that are helping you get that vitality, that energy. So yeah, that's basically the way that connects to the Shilajit, is that because the Shilajit is the reason I take the Shilajit. It's got some other health benefits, but another big benefit is that it detoxifies the body of heavy metals. And so in the way, like in kind of the way that interconnects with the mineral water, is a lot of people, when they have a mineral deficiency and then they have heavy metal toxicity in their bodies, they find themselves getting things like chronic fatigue, or they find themselves having really low energy levels and that type of thing. And the way you were talking about performance and feeling of vitality and feelings of high energy, that is something that will greatly affect your performance. And so optimizing the way I feel has always been huge for me. The way my workouts go, how much energy I have in the gym, and the way that affects my overall lifestyle, that's always been something that's very important to me. So replenishing those mineral deficiencies, and just kind of optimizing the way my body is working the way it should be at baseline, without any deficiencies, that's kind of been a priority of mine.
Yeah.
And that's why with the water thing, these are like a lot of small problems that can just amount to like a big issue. Like lacking trace minerals in your water isn't going to kill you, but it will have a small effect, and a small effect over time in connection with other things, that can have a lot bigger of a impact on your life.
100%. And as we know too, like making the small changes and small differences over time, even in the gym, like progressive overload, like you're progressively overloading with these minerals that essentially lead to better vitality. So if you're able to get, optimize your performance a little bit over a long period of time, overall, you're going to have a much better performance, and you're going to be performing at a much higher level than you would without these. So
sure, man.
Yeah,
I like the way you put that. I like the way you put that, because sometimes with supplementation, you want to ease into things and like see how they work for you, and if you can increase your dosage and eventually work up to a higher level, like with the magnesium, how you were started taking that type of thing. But yeah, you progressively move into it. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And just to touch on the magnesium too, we were talking a little bit about this before I started the podcast. But basically, with the magnesium or the cleated magnesium glycinate, I started taking that. I'm almost through the whole bottle now. Um, but I have noticed like a significant improvement in my sleep. So I'm like a pretty good sleeper as it is. Um, but in prep, I find my sleep quality tends to get better. Um, and since I've started taking this, like I'm not waking up in the night, and when I do wake up in the morning, like I'm getting up like just like that, and and that in itself is enough to because sleep is so important, especially because like sleep is your number one for recovery, and recovery is
Mhm.
huge in prep because you're at deficiencies in almost every other department, so you want to make sure you're getting enough sleep so that you actually are recovering to the best of your
Sure.
ability, right? So if I'm able to improve my sleep even a little bit, like I'm gonna take that, right?
That's huge.
Yeah, no, it's massive, right? So that's definitely something that I would recommend to anybody listening. And we've gone into depth before, myself and Thomas, about kind of all the ZMA products out there and the kind of compounds they're selling off the shelves, like from the big supplement companies, and how they are, a lot of them are trash. Um,
Yeah.
because yeah, I mean, straight up, like my mom takes ZMA, and
Okay.
she has to take it before bed because she finds it makes her groggy. So she'll take it and she'll kind of feel kind of like sleepy, kind of like low energy, but that's not necessarily what you want from that.
Sure.
So, and also the bioavailability in this form of magnesium is much higher, right?
Yeah. So that is a big thing. Bioavailability. This is something that I've been looking into. The way I would supplement was kind of just autonomous. I would see a supplement, see its benefits online, and just buy whichever one I could get my hands on. And I would just kind of be happy with that. But more recently, I've been kind of questioning, the exact like concentrations and the exact forms of the supplements I've been taking. And I found that bioavailability is a big thing because if you're taking something that your gut simply can't absorb, um, it's just not going to be beneficial, or the benefit you'll get from it is going to be it won't be very pronounced. And a lot of these supplements, what's really funny to me is they're not any different price wise to the ones that are more bioavailable and better for you in terms of the benefits they will give you. They're just not marketed as well. Like you've got these big brands like My Protein and you know well, I won't go into the brands, but the one that I was taking, the ZMA, was from My Protein, and I found that the magnesium in it was a citrate magnesium. And I did a little research into the magnesium, and I found that citrate is actually prescribed as a stool softener for people who have issues with constipation. And citrate magnesium is very poorly available in your gut. And as a magnesium supplement, it's not very efficacious. Um, I found that I think there's a couple more than a few forms. It's like there's L-threonate, there's glycinate, biglycinate, um, chelated magnesium. Those are the forms that you're going to want because they're much more bioavailable, and you're going to get a lot more of the benefits from that magnesium. Whereas the citrate, you're going to get very minimal absorption, and it's just not going to do you as many favors. And so this goes past magnesium. It goes into everything. It goes into zinc. It goes into the green supplements you're taking. Bioavailability and like the quality of the type of supplements you're taking is something that you should really look into and research, because you could be wasting your money, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. And even if these forms like the we'll say like the not big company name brands,
Sure.
they're selling more bioavailable forms of this
Mhm.
product, whatever it may be, and it does cost a little more. Well, when you weigh it out, you're probably getting a better bang for your buck by getting the more bioavailable one, because it's actually going to work and you're actually going to get what you're taking, rather
Sure.
than just like the other stuff just going through your system. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's another big thing for sure, because people are just going to look for kind of the cheap option out, or they're going to
Yeah,
try this and be like, oh, it didn't work as well. It's like you got the trash version of it, you know what I mean?
exactly.
um
That's one big thing I've also noticed with supplementation is a lot of people are looking for like a cheap, easy second alternative. They might see like a supplement that's recommended by somebody and they think, God, this is expensive, or God, there's got to be a cheaper option or a better option out there. But like with supplementation, you really shouldn't be cheaping out. This isn't something you want to be skimping on. This is something that is literally affecting your health. And I know it's a cliche statement, but I really do think health is wealth. Like how you feel is so really just controls like your quality of life and what you are able to accomplish. Like if I am low energy and I'm feeling lethargic and sluggish and lazy, I just don't have the productivity that I have when I'm feeling energized and invigorated and just full of vitality. Like the difference in those two, and I've been there on both ends, like it's just massive. Like quality of life improves so much. And if you're worried about 20, 30, $40 of a difference between a poor form of a supplement and a good form, maybe this isn't something for you, because that really shouldn't be a question. It really should just be you're willing to take that extra leap and just go the extra mile, because the benefits you will get from that are going to be huge.
No, 100%. And that just goes back to like optimizing everything. Like if you're able to optimize your nutrition, your supplementation with these minerals and vitamins,
Mhm.
then that's going to optimize other aspects of your life as well, your success, your productivity, your
Absolutely.
training,
Yep.
which is obviously both really important to me and you.
Mhm.
So like, and I guess in our minds, it's kind of like if this can help me at all, why wouldn't I do it? But other people will be like, they don't see kind of the long-term benefit. They're very kind of like, actually I saw a video on it earlier. It was like, I think it was Levi Mack posted a TikTok, and it was like, people are just looking for the short, easy, quick fix these days. Like they don't want to actually put in the work, um, and kind of wait for the results or go that extra mile at the start line to eventually, get to the finish line, with, a faster time in the end kind of thing. So yeah.
Certainly, like instant gratification.
Yeah.
People look for that instant gratification. They don't want that the long term. A lot of people aren't going to want that long term accomplishment that's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of consistency. But connecting that to supplements, man, like a lot of people expect like an overnight, just like instant change when they start taking supplements. That is not something that should be expected. Sometimes it can take months for you to really see the difference, really see the benefits. And supplements aren't, they're not, there's a reason why they're called supplements. They are supposed to supplement a healthy lifestyle. They
100%.
aren't going to be there isn't some magic pill out there that's going to change your life. It's literally, it just comes down to you being consistent with it. And for a lot of people, you might not get benefits overnight. You might not get benefits in a week, and might not even be in a month, but you really just got to stick with it. And I think that if you're patient and if you're consistent and you take the right things, you will 100% see a change. You'll see a benefit. And yeah, that's what a lot of people need to understand, that this type of instant gratification thing, you're not always going to get that overnight fix with everything.
No, totally, totally. And like there's levels to this stuff, right? Like where me and you are kind of now with supplementation is, you know, significantly above where like the general population would be and what they're kind of concerned with, right? For a lot of people, it's just kind of optimizing their diet and nutrition.
Sure.
Eating less fast food. That's another way, to kind of focus on whole foods and getting those micronutrients to their fruits and vegetables.
Sure.
Drinking more water, like small things like that are so basic to even just feel better in that sense. But then where we've been doing those things for so long, we're kind of looking into these these other kind of little pockets, and we're like, how can I fill the gap here? How can I do this? How can I do that? And for us, we're really just kind of experimenting with this stuff and kind of seeing what works and what doesn't, because that's what we're interested in.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my plan after the show. The show that I'm doing in 2 weeks, I'll probably, a couple weeks after that, I'll start taking the Shea Legit and kind of experiment with that. I got 2 packs of it. So I'm super excited to kind of see how that goes. Have you noticed any kind of changes or differences with you started taking the Shea Legit, didn't you?
Yeah. So do you want to go into that? Should we tell them what it is first?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically the Shea Legit is something that I got into because I follow this guy, Grant Fowler. I'm not sure what his exact handle is, but I think it's Grant Fowler on Instagram. He should come up.
Yeah, I'll find it and put it down below.
And the way I stumbled across this is he has a couple supplements from a website called mitolife.com. And Mitolife has some of the best supplements, in my opinion, that you can get right now on the market because of their bioavailability and because of their concentration. A lot of the supplements that you're going to be buying right now are going to be underdosed. But Mitolife is one of those companies that the supplements they do sell, they're extremely potent and they are very, very effective. And so the Shea Legit, mitolife.com holds something called Panacea, and it's their Shea Legit. It's their like name for the Shea Legit or whatever. And essentially what Shea Legit is it is it's from it's like from mountain ranges in, I want to say, like Russia and like the like maybe the Appalachian or the Rocky Mountains or something. But I know it's like above 7,000 feet elevation, you start to get this cumulative effect of dead organic matter. And so like fecal matter from animals or dead plant matter, that type of thing, it accumulates and you get this kind of humus over thousands of years that forms. And then that kind of compresses into the soil, and you get this kind of tar-like substance that just kind of oozes out of the mountains, and it just kind of comes like straight out of the side of the mountain. And it's extremely rich in minerals. Like it is one of the most rich forms of like fulvic and humic acid that you can consume is in this Shea Legit. And those are two things that we're deficient in. And I think it's got something like 94 essential trace minerals in this Shea Legit, but it's essentially just like this mineral powerhouse supplement. And it's also got some incredible effects on testosterone, shown in research, which for you and me who are athletes, bodybuilders, whatever it may be, that's huge for performance, building muscle. As a natural athlete, you're going to want as much of that natural free testosterone as we can get our hands on.
Totally.
So essentially, Mitolife sells their Shea Legit as the Panacea, and it's the most concentrated, best version of Shea Legit that I've found to date. I started taking that about 6 weeks ago, maybe 5 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and I have noticed some excellent benefits. A lot of people don't take it for the same reasons I'm taking it, which would be the performance enhancement. A lot of people take it who have energy problems. So people who have things like chronic fatigue. You've got construction workers who would be working 12-hour shifts, and the only way they can survive, they're drinking half a dozen cups of coffee during the day. And they start taking the Shea Legit, and they accidentally quit coffee, and they don't even think about drinking their morning cup of coffee anymore because they don't need the energy because they already have it from the Shea Legit. And what's really amazing to me about this supplement is how dynamic it is. Like, a lot of times you get supplements that are catered to a specific type of person, but the Shea Legit has really been marketed as just a lifestyle supplement, which I really love because it makes me believe in it a lot more. It's not something that's sold exclusively to bodybuilders or powerlifters, people who are, kind of stereotypically trying to get jacked up and beefed up on testosterone and that type of thing. It's really just a lifestyle supplement. People give it to their grandmothers their kids. Even I've seen videos of people giving it to their kids. And yeah, it's great. It's got a number of benefits. I've seen women taking it who have really bad symptoms on their period, and they get really bad cramps, and they take the Shea Legit, and their symptoms are alleviated massively. I've seen people taking it who guys who are in their 50s or their 60s who were considering getting on TRT, and they started on the Shea Legit, and they got some blood work done 3 months apart before taking it after. And guys who had like 270 nanograms per deciliter free testosterone brought that up to nearly 600, like 580 nanograms, that type of thing. And guys, I'm just going off of testimonials here when I'm speaking here. And a lot of these are from this guy, Grant's page, Grant Fowler on Instagram. But yeah, obviously I can only speak on it for the benefits it's given me, which I can go into, but it is something that I've seen has had a really great effect for a lot of people. And yeah, so for my personal experience, I have noticed a significant increase in energy level consistency throughout the day. So I'm a relatively active person, and I'm usually getting a minimum of 10,000 steps a day. I'm usually working out 5-6 times a week. And so energy levels are not something I've really struggled with. I've always been a very active person. So my energy is usually good. However, I do notice that sometimes I will have a midday crash, excuse me, maybe around 3 or 4 p.m. After my lunch, when I have that kind of like insulin dump after lunch, I eat a heavy carb meal and I'm digesting. I'll usually get that like low period during the day. But with the Shea Legit, I've noticed my energy has been way more consistent throughout the day. It isn't going to go through these like peaks and dips, which is huge for me because that would like contribute to lethargy, like feelings of lethargia and that type of thing. When I would get into that dip period, and it's sometimes hard to bring yourself out of that as well.
100%. I have the same thing.
Yeah.
Same
So
thing. And like
energy.
fairly
Yeah.
consistently as well. Like I'll notice like usually like 3:30, like you said, like 3:30. And especially I noticed it when I was bulking.
Food is huge. It has a
Yeah,
huge effect on energy levels. And so as as trained athletes, we want to keep that level,
100%, 100%.
But other than the energy consistency with the Shea Legit, I've noticed it has some nootropic benefits as well. So this is kind of a less I would say this is a less conventional way of taking it, but I take it sublingually. They come in these sorry, I just got a battery message there. They come in these little tablets of kind of compressed like resin, like a tar.
Yeah.
You can actually hold the tablet in your finger and kind of squish it. The one that I get anyway from mitolife.com. And a lot of people just swallow them because they taste really bad. But I take them sublingually. I just pop them under my tongue and I let them dissolve. Usually takes about 10 minutes. I take 3 tabs, which is 600 milligrams every morning on a fasted stomach, or fasted on an empty stomach. And it's got some nootropic benefits. It's got some like mental clarity benefits. I notice that when I'm fasted in the morning, that's when I feel my most productive. Like when I have no food in my stomach and I have like a cup of black coffee in me, and I'm completely like empty, I feel really energized, extremely mentally there. Like I just feel very sharp in the mornings. That's when I feel my
100%.
sharp. And when I take the Shea Legit, I have my black coffee and I haven't had a meal yet, I literally feel like $1,000,000. Like I've actually experimented with working out fasted recently, and the workouts I've been having are incredible. The only downside is my pump isn't as pronounced just because I don't have that food in me.
Yeah.
But the energy levels and everything just from the Shea Legit coupled with being fasted and everything, it's been great. So
Yeah.
yeah, the Shea Legit is pretty dope. I wouldn't say it's a miracle supplement, but it is definitely something I will be incorporating into my supplement regimen and probably keeping there for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Wow, that's sick, man. I'm super excited to kind of dive into it. And another
You
thing I'm
should
gonna
be.
be doing on this, like I'm gonna kind of make this a series on my channel. Um, So I don't know if I mentioned it to you or not, but I'm gonna go get blood work done before I start taking it.
Sure.
Just so I can get kind of like a baseline of what my natural testosterone is.
Yeah.
And I'm probably gonna wait a couple weeks post show just because I feel like my testosterone will be down after the show. Just because my test drops in prep. But so like probably 2 weeks after, I'll go look for blood work and get a baseline, and then I'll start with the Shilajit and yeah, kind of see if there's any effect there, and just kind of focus on optimizing my natural testosterone the
Yeah.
best that I can, right?
For
So
sure,
yeah,
man.
I'm really looking forward to that, and the other benefits too, especially the like that nootropic benefit is like
Mhm.
I'm the same as you in the morning when I wake up fasted. That's kind of my most productive period in the day, right? Because like I find especially when I'm bulking that like I'm constantly eating, and the periods of time between those meals I'm feeling lethargic and like I'm digesting, so it's like I just feel kind of bogged
It's horrible.
down, right?
You just feel
So
bogged down. It's horrible.
yeah, so it's like that time in the morning, if I can optimize that at all, that's key right there. That's big. um
Absolutely.
but yeah, no,
It is.
I'm pumped to try that.
Yeah, man. And I will also say I have noticed some. I would say I can't speak like specifically on the testosterone, but I would go as far to say that I do think it has increased, um, just like from daily life activities, like obvious things that we can go into for like increases in testosterone. But I just do have those better, like a lot of the benefits that Shilajit gives are kind of a byproduct of increased testosterone. That's my thought process.
Right.
It does replenish those mineral deficiencies, but as you know, like when you have low testosterone, you're gonna feel a lot more sluggish. You're gonna have lower energy levels. Like testosterone is that thing that really keeps you going.
Yeah.
And so I do think that a lot of the benefits I have been getting could have potentially been from increasing that testosterone. But it is hard to say for certain without a blood test, without blood work, that type of thing.
Yeah. No, that regardless, man, that's good. Like whether it increase, I'm sure it has increased your testosterone. I do agree with you. I think that is a byproduct of, naturally increasing your testosterone. Um, but like we said, like even if we're just filling gaps and just kind of optimizing those little things, checking those boxes, then that's really enough, right?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's like whatever we can do to improve our quality of life and just feel better. That's the goal, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. Um, I'm starving here. So we'll probably clue this up here. I think that's a good spot to leave off on. And I'll probably have you on again, like once I hop on the Shilajit and I get that kind of like really underway. And yeah, we can talk supplements some more. But I appreciate your time, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I know it's late there now, and yeah, thank you for your time.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me on, and hopefully we'll talk back soon and check in with the Sheila.
100%, bro. 100%. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening. This is episode 13 of the Barbells and Banter podcast. And if you guys haven't checked it out, if you're watching on YouTube, this is also streamed on iTunes and Spotify. So be sure to check that out. All right. Peace, man. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later.
Peace, man.